Hello and welcome back to the Nasty Metal Production channel here at YouTube, and welcome to another Album of the Week video. This is episode number 192. Today I am traveling back 10 years to February 1st, 2013 that is. It's the day that the leaders of the new wave of traditional heavy metal movement, Enforcer, unleashed their third full-length album, Death by Fire. It also marked their debut on Nuclear Blast, which they've been with since. And speaking of since, Enforcer has announced their 7th studio album, Nostalgia, which will be released on May 5th. So, come with me and let's take a ride down memory lane, folks. After releasing their second album, Diamonds, their first and last to be released on the legendary Earache Records after they had bought Heavy Artillery Records, the label that initially signed Enforcer. But it was also the final album for guitar player Adam Zars, who had been with the band up to, well, Diamonds. However, instead of looking for an replacement member, Olaf & Co. just decided to just stay as a four-piece, and in 2012, the band would head into Hevgamer Studios. Goddamn, I butchered that. I know it's Swedish, but goddamn, I can't even pronounce that correctly. Hevgamer Studios. I'm just gonna butcher it from there on, I guess. Well, they entered there to begin recording what would become Death by Fire. The band would then head back to Leon Music, where Olaf would lay down, again, Olaf Wickstrand, lay down the vocal tracks, and thus finishing their third studio effort. Death by Fire, of course, was produced by both Olaf and Jonas Wickstrand. The album here, of course, consists of a total of 9 tracks and clocks in at 36 minutes and 27 seconds. So, these 9 tracks are, well, beginning with the very short, very piano-esque intro, Bells of Hades, and then finally getting into the first real track of the album, that being Death Rides This Night, then onto Run For Your Life, Mesmerized by Fire, Take Me Out of This Nightmare, Crystal Suit, Sacrificed, Silent Hour / The Conjugation, and then finally ending with Satan. So there you go. There's your 9 tracks. Now, I have been following Enforcer ever since I first discovered them on the Heavy Artillery's Speed Kills Again split album, which featured the likes of Toxic Holocaust, who I was heavily into at the time, Merciless Death, another band that I was heavily into at the time, Avenger of Blood, Warbringer, and Hatred, a Italian speed thrash metal band, which featured a couple of members from Baphomet's Blood, one of my other personal favorite Italian speed metal bands. Now, as much as I like Enforcer now, though they've been beginning to test my loyalty recently, though that was at least prior until I heard, some of the songs that are going to be released on the Nostalgia album. At the time of when I checked out the Speed Kills Again split, I wasn't yet a fan of Enforcer, because by the time they already had, 2 albums out, them being Into the Night and Diamonds. I liked those 2 songs enough to where I would eventually check out their debut, again, which was pretty cool, but it didn't really blow my socks off. And then I pretty much neglected to pass Diamonds, and this was at the time of when I was pretty much beginning to venture into Enforcer, and that was at least until 2013 began to roll in, and being on forums like, for example, Heavy Metal Rarities and Forces of Steel, I did bump into some Enforcer fanatics, and when Death by Fire was announced, they were ecstatic. Then they released the video for Mesmerized by Fire, and I gotta say, it was pretty fucking catchy. Even if the final riff in the song felt too much like a copy of Diamond Head's Lightning to the Nations track. Still, it grabbed me. However, trying to buy the album at Raspina Music at the time was a fucking hemorrhoid. So for months, I didn't buy it because of Raspina not getting a copy in, or any of my other local record shops like FYE, which are no longer around here in Fresno. But again, some of those places were very difficult in trying to get in a copy of Death by Fire, even given the fact that Enforcer were on Nuclear Blast. But eventually, I did manage to get a copy via Christmas gift from my mom, who got it off of Amazon, which was the Digipack copy that came with, well, the patch, which is still on my denim vest to this day. So finally, I was able to hear Death by Fire. At the time, I liked it, but not all of it was perfect. If anything, the middle portion of it felt kind of draggy, a little boring at times, as you will. I mean, it opens up with 3 balls out bangers, like the title track, Run for Your Life, and the aforementioned Mesmerized by Fire. All 3 killer songs, but then came Take Me Out of This Nightmare. You know, I gotta say, at the time, I sorta did not like this track. It felt too commercial sounding for my liking. It was less raw. This was before I even checked out Diamonds. And from there on, nothing quite was quenching my thirst, you know, as the first 3 songs were. It was like this till it got to the last track, Satan, which was an ode to Tribulation's guitarist Johannes Anderson, which Adam Zars ended up being a part of as well. It was a barn burner that had that old Metallica vibe that was severely missing from them. So I immediately loved the track. And so that was my original, first thoughts of Death by Fire. And by 2015, when they released From Beyond, and that pretty much became my favorite Enforcer album. But it was because of that album that made me, here and there revisit Death by Fire, and over time, and especially most recently, Death by Fire has grown on me. So much to the point that it's now my second favorite album from Enforcer. I now even like Take Me Out of This Nightmare, and I also love Crystal Suit and Sacrificed. I don't understand how I didn't immensely, care for Sacrifice. It begins calmly, but in an ominous way. Then it gets into a melodic, galloping paced song before switching to its razor sharp form, and from there it's all slice and dice. Just fucking killer. And then of course Crystal Suit, which is an instrumental in the Iron Maiden way, reminded me of classics like Transylvania off the debut album and Genghis Khan off of Killers. But it's just such a fun jam. The last song I want to bring up is Silent Hours / The Conjugation. It's a epic, proggy-like number. Again, begins like normal, kind of mid-paced, but has a nice drive to it. But as it begins to get faster, it then breaks in and leads into this soft, almost calm section that is layered with atmosphere. This lasts for a couple of minutes before building back up to an electric driving pace, and from there it's just packed with punch after punch. Just another solid track. Overall, it's a great album that I've been finally beginning to love. just what a great album. It's just crazy that it's now been 10 years and it's already seen its 10th anniversary. Crazy, isn't it? So congratulations to Enforcer and this album. So for those like me who lived with this album when it was first a brand new album, you can leave a comment in the comment section below, whether they be positive or negative. But if you haven't already checked this album out, and since given that they are going to be releasing their brand new 7th studio album, I say do so. And then maybe check out From Beyond, then Diamonds, and Into the Night. So with that, I hope all of you enjoyed. This is Heavy Thrashhead saying I am out. And I'll see you all later. Take care, everyone.